Joe here from XFoxGames. Check it out. This is the official kind of guide / overview of the XFKO Stubby version. Now, if you guys remember, I mean, we have the original XFKO, which is pretty much the same thing, the Inline Clip version, which is here. Really, the only difference between those blasters and these blasters is the original XFKOs, right, have the removable tip that you can go out and you can kind of see inside, comparison to the Stubbies, which are a much cleaner install, especially if you guys got the kit comparison to the blaster. And yeah, we figured, you know what, you could pick one based upon your level of expertise, right? Building one of these is far quicker than building one of the other ones, but it still holds the same concept of the inline clip. And we want to go over that with you because we received a lot of messages about, hey, we try to fire it, nothing comes out, what's going on? So what is the point of an inline clip? Basically, the inline clip lets you shoot or put multiple darts like this inside the barrel of the blaster. Typically, right, this is just a single shot blaster. You put a dart in, you cock it, you shoot it, and that's it. So every time you want to shoot, you have to repeat that process. But the inline clip allows you to have multiple darts in here so that all you really got to do is cock it, give it a little downward motion so that it seats, which we'll talk about here in a second, shoot, and cock it again, downward motion, shoot. So you have 3 shots in here instead of the normal one. So let's talk a little bit about the inline clip and kind of how this works. So the way an inline clip works is very similar to this. So let me push that back here. So typically, right, you just have a shaft or your barrel of your blaster, and you're going to notice there's this tip up here. Now, this is a little bit skinnier than the actual shaft itself so that it can hold the dart or hold the next projectile to be shot out. Now, this is inside. You guys can't see it. This is inside this, not plastic piece, but this is inside that kind of the whole barrel suppressor tip here. It's basically just like this, right? So when you put your first dart in, right, it's going to be something like that. Just kind of sits in there. And then you can put another one in, right? Boom. And you put another one in, and you'll notice they're loose. You see how it's loose in there? So what happens is when you pull the trigger and all that air comes rushing out, it's going to go around the darts and head out the barrel. It's going to look for its least path of resistance, right? And since they're so loose in this back spot back here, it's not going to shoot anything. So we've seen that where people get it and they're like, what? I just put a dart in there and I shot it and nothing came out. So the whole trick to this is when you put the darts in there, you want to give it kind of a quick downward motion so the next dart gets seated in the front part of this right here. So you just want to, you put all 3 of them in there, you can cock it, give it a downward motion, and fire. Now, one of the things we've seen, though, is if you do a downward motion and then you pull it, sometimes the back pressure will actually pull the dart out from the thing. So you always want to cock it first, downward motion, then shoot, because you can hear it, right? If you put the darts in there, do like this, and it seats, and then you pull, you can hear it, like does like a, I can't even make the sound, right? You can hear it pulling the dart back because of the suction. So once you shoot the one that's in there, you guys can kind of see that. Again, the next 2 will kind of be loose in there. So you give it that downward motion, and you see how it seats itself? Then you're ready to shoot. So that's the way an inline clip works, is you got multiple shots inside inside here, and typically, again, this is just a one-shot. The normal blasters are just a one-shot blaster, right? So that's the whole concept behind this. Now, dart selection. This is pretty big. So I'm going to pull it up here. These are the darts that we typically recommend. Again, the dart zone stuff is really good. The bamboo stuff is really good. The worker gen stuff is really good. You just want to make sure it has kind of that tapered front, right? Usually some of the stuff like a waffle head dart, the tip is almost bigger than the foam piece. So it's going to rub on the barrel, and you don't want to use those. So any of the ones that I have up there are the ones that we've used, and they're, literally 100 for $9 or something like that. So they are all very good. You can get them all over the place. I've had some people, again, put some darts that had a really fat tip on there. I'm like, that's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. So if you stick with any of this stuff, again, we exclusively use the bamboos as well as some of the dart zone stuff here, and they work great, right? Now, this particular blaster, again, if you get it as a whole, it just comes ready to go, right? Ready to go, ready to rock and roll. I would not dry fire this because there's no restriction, right? It's just, there it goes. So when a dart is typically in here, so you go and put the dart in, or just one, give it a down. I didn't hear it suck back, so you can always give it another downward motion. Shoot it, whoo, there you go. So I don't try to dry fire it, and I always try to leave it stored with the barrel open, because you got a spring in there, and the spring, we usually cut it so that it gives a little more pop to the front coming out, because there's a little more mass here in comparison to the original. And it's a spring, right? It'll stretch over time, so I tend to store it with the barrel out like that. But again, try not to dry fire this particular blaster. And again, we have a couple versions here. We have a blue and orange. We got a black and red, which is really popular. We got a red and orange, which is really popular. We got different tips. So again, I mean, they all do the same thing. It's just a different tip, right? We got one here with a kind of spiral on it. Again, lots of different colors. And again, this is kind of the official video on these XFKO Stubbies. We had the other ones, the XFKOs original that were available, and you guys are up to like 70 of those. We figured, you know what? Let's do the Stubby version. Just so there's not a removable barrel. It's all one piece. Install, if you got the kit, is an absolute breeze. And these rock just like the originals. Now these shoot a little bit. It doesn't shoot as fast as the original XFKO. I think those were like at 130, 120. These are more like 100 to 110. Now the thing though is typically when you shoot them, that inner barrel will get a little smoother, a little smoother, a little smoother. So you'll creep up over time, but expect about 105-ish FPS, somewhere right in there. So we just wanted to make this quick video for anybody who has received one of these or ordered one of these and really doesn't know what the inline clip is all about. We have, again, received a few messages of people just throwing a dart in there, just throwing one, cocking it, and shooting it, and nothing came out. They're like, it doesn't work. And I'm like, it works. Cock it. Give it the downward motion so it seats, and there we go. Then it shoots. Again, the inline clip here is just a visual representation of what's happening inside here. So multiple shots, which is awesome. Cock it. Put the cocking rod up. Give it that downward flick so the next one gets seated, and the other ones are just kind of sitting. So if I push it back, you can see. Let's just put two in here. So we got one. We got two, again, simulating putting two inside the barrel in there. They're just going to sit like that normally. But then when you give it that downward motion, like that, oh, something like that, there you go. You can see the next one is seated right up against this barrel. And you don't need a ton of barrel up there. It's seated. Now when you fire, all the stuff should come out there. So, yeah, this is the official video, guys, for the XFKO Stubbies version. I'm just calling it 1.0. But these things rock, man. They're great little sidearm blasters. Especially to hold a couple rounds. Definitely something unique. We do have the brass breech and all that stuff. You guys can check that out on our Etsy store. But hopefully our Etsy store should have these available maybe when you see this video, if not shortly after. But I'm guessing some people are probably going to watch this and it's going to be already out on the site. But a lot of different color options. I mean, check it out there. It's either going to be, again, the blue or red. And then you can pick the different tip, right? And again, a lot of different tip options. We might have more depending on when you guys see this, but a lot of different tip options. And then the colors, a lot of color options. I mean, I couldn't make them all for this video. I just wanted to do some quick ones here, and they all shoot the same. It's the same thing, just a little bit visual of a difference. To kind of go a little bit further, we do have a lot of customs. So this stuff here, again, uses the Stubby kits, but look at those customs. These will probably be out here in a couple weeks, or they could be out depending on when you guys are watching this. We're going to have some customs, like we're going to maybe call this slime and this one candy. But a lot of you guys already know about some of this. So again, this is an XFKO Stubby regular version video so that you guys know how to use this particular blaster and just some quick guides on how to store it. And, when you put darts in, to make sure you cock it, give it that downward thrust, and then shoot so the actual dart is seated. So there you go, guys. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for ordering so many of the original XFKOs. Inline kits. Now you guys have the option for the Stubbies. There you go. Thanks again, Fox fans.